My beautiful soul tribe, I've missed you. I've been going through it. This last week has been, whew. I've been like up and down and all around on a roller coaster, not a literal roller coaster. I hope you guys are all doing well. I do miss you. That one day where I was like, I have someone coming to work on my house tomorrow. Oh, yay, they're not coming. Well, they came this week. And unfortunately, it seems like I'm just going to talk to you for a minute on a soul tribe level. Unfortunately, it seems like I purchased a house where the sellers were looking for a quick sale. So they did a lot of cover up work that wasn't caught in the inspection. So now, like, I had that plumbing problem. It's now turned into a nightmare because the person who came in to fix it found out that the person who did the work beforehand did a really crappy job and cut corners. And so when they went to fix it, it took longer than anticipated. And then when they went to fix it, they started finding other problems. They started finding, like, I just can't even tell you what they started to find. It's insane. And they keep saying, like, somebody screwed you over with this house. So I've been dealing with that, and it's been a journey. I'm someone who's a creature of habit. I like things a certain way. I like my house a certain way, not in like a crazy way, but I like things to be in their place. I'm someone who, for a long time, I thought I had OCD. I don't. I was just autistic. But my house has just been chaotic because there's tools everywhere. There's drywall that needs replaced. There's wood in my walls that needs replaced. Like, I just found out yesterday that, like, my shower needs replaced. I just can't. It's just gotten, like, it went from all I wanted. I had a leaky tap. On my main level bathroom, and I was told that I needed to replace the vanity because the vanity was rotting or something. So all I wanted was to replace this vanity. And unfortunately, we've uncovered a lot of problems. And it's kind of symbolic to me of healing. Like, you think, like, oh, I just need to heal this one thing. And then when you start healing, you discover, like, oh, just the tip of the iceberg, just the tip of the iceberg. I should also start off by saying I have no idea how much daylight I have. I've been so deprived of doing readings that this afternoon I sat down to do readings and I just couldn't stop. So it is a little late here. The sun is setting, so it might get super dark for this reading, but I really wanted to do a soul tribe reading. But anyway, tip of the iceberg, kind of like healing. And on top of that, I started having problems with my own intuition this week. I started getting in my head. I started letting my logical mind take over and my logical thoughts, and I was consuming too much information on social media that was making me doubt my intuition. And then I don't know if you've watched them, because I don't know if you watch my love readings, but like, I went into these love readings feeling this like blockage, and then my love readings were just like, it was like my spirit guides were laughing at me. Like, it was just like, it's just what I needed. I needed a slap upside the head by my spirit guides. Consuming too much social media can damage your intuition, or it can block your intuition. I do believe that. So anyway, it's been, a week. I haven't been in the best frame of mind this week, so I was really looking forward to spending time with you guys. I haven't been able to do a soul tribe reading all week. I haven't felt like I could. And every day I've brought this dang book. I brought this book, The Inner Work, downstairs with me, wanting to read it. But then I'm like, something stopped me. And I think it's because I'm supposed to be reading it with you guys. So anyway, I really wanted to come on today and read from this book. And I already went ahead and bought their other book. They have another book about relationships, and it's by the same people. So it kind of, like I said about this book is about awakening and healing. So this other book about relationships is also about awakening and healing, and it talks about like so many different things. I'm looking forward to sharing what I learn from it. But I really wanted to come on and read from this book for you guys today. We were going to read chapter 2. Part of me wonders if I should just jump in and start reading it. I apologize that it's been so long since we read chapter 1. I feel bad. I believe I titled it The Inner Work. So if you didn't see it or you want to rewatch the first chapter. It's in Soul Tribe readings, and it will say The Inner Work in the title so that you can find it. But yeah, maybe we'll just jump right into reading it. The bad news is that person is going to be in my house for like a month. And this week I was able to do a couple readings while he was here, even though he was really loud. But next week he'll be in my room working on my bathroom. So I think next week you're going to see me in my van doing a Soul Tribe reading with this book. I'll be sitting in my van. I'll park by the ocean and I'll read to you guys from my van. So we're just going to get into reading. Chapter 2, Compassion for Ourselves and Others Along the Journey. And I just did a reading where I feel like it's important to show compassion towards others. And I was doing a reading about not being able to communicate. Like it was someone who was wordless, like didn't know what to say, didn't know how to communicate. And society and social media will tell us if they wanted to talk to you, they would. And I was advocating for autistic people and people with trauma about how it's not that simple. That I myself have a hard time communicating because I am autistic, and sometimes because of my trauma and past experiences. So it's not that simple. And I even said in that reading, like, I'm just trying to show you a more compassionate side to this. It's not just so black and white. And that's one of the main things that I've learned on my journey is how to have compassion towards others. It's interesting. I did a reading for empaths the other day, and one of the cards said, if you come across a light worker or someone who says they're awakened and they're not showing compassion to others and they're being judgmental to others, they're still asleep. And I'm like, yep, that's totally true. I can see that. So anyway, it's interesting that this chapter is compassion for ourselves and others along the journey. The desire to know your own soul will end all other desires, and that is the truth. Wally confirms. Do you hear him singing in the background? Wally! Hi! He's up to trouble. I didn't know this. Yeah, I know. But I think he's what's called a red Siamese or a red something Siamese. And I never knew that about him. But he does this really interesting thing with his eyes where it looks like he's looking at something that's not here. And I know some of you are like, maybe he is looking at something that you can't see. I believe it. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that about my cat, that he's some kind of Siamese, and I didn't know that. He's like, I'm sure I've shown him to you, but he's white with blue eyes, and then he has, you know how a Siamese would be brown with like black ears? He's white with like red ears and like a red tail. Anyway, beautiful cat. Let's get back to the reading. Regardless of how you feel about yourself or your life right now, I know what I was going to say. The desire to know your own soul will end all other desires. And I talked to you guys about the fact that I felt like I had something missing. And then once I started to get to know myself, I no longer desired other things. Because everything you need, 9 of Pentacles, everything you need is within you. So you no longer desire it outside of you, if that makes sense. All right, back to it. Regardless about how you feel about yourself or your life right now, it's essential to understand that if your perspective isn't rooted in unconditional love, it is not the truth of your full potential. It's a subjective perspective you are temporarily experiencing that is coming from a wounded theme of consciousness. And in chapter 1, I showed you the themes of consciousness, and I told you to take a screenshot. Your true self is perfect, loving awareness. The greatness of your potential is pure innocence, stainless, and invincible joy. You are innately accepted, unconditionally loved, whole, and complete, despite what you've been through or what the external world is telling you. You are infinitely guided, supported, and provided for by your Creator. You have access to infinite possibilities right now. Your very existence is proof of how loved and cherished you are, even if you can't see it yet. The question is, do you believe this? We invite you to read the next few lines out loud and honestly examine how you feel. Examine how you feel. We recommend pausing between each line so that you can become aware of the sensations in your body in connection with each affirmation. Self-honesty is the first step in revealing your current anatomy of consciousness. So I won't pause because otherwise we'll be here all day. But you could pause it. Like anytime I say one of these, you could pause it and then listen to your body about how it feels to hear this. Because some of these, when I hear them or when I used to hear them, my mind would fight it, or that negative narrative in my brain would be like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not any good. You suck. So anyway, think about how you're feeling. I am pure. I am innocent. I am already worthy. I forgive myself and others. I am wanted and needed. I don't know why some of these are making me want to cry. See? I am wanted and needed is making me want to cry. And do you know what that's telling me? That I need to work on that. That maybe I don't feel wanted and needed in some sense, or I'm going to think about that. Anyway. I am seen. I am free from my past. I don't feel free from my past yet, but I'm working on it. I have no regrets. I face my fears with courage. I expect the best case scenario. That's interesting. I have everything I need. I am fully satisfied in my life. I easily celebrate the success of others. I have no enemies. I am honest. I go with the flow. I trust I will always be okay. I am unique and gifted. I am talented. I am inspired and inspiring. I am a success. My life is a success. I see only opportunities. My life has extraordinary meaning. My future is positive and bright. Everything is working out for my benefit. I am brilliant. I have access to genius ideas. I am intelligent. I am at peace in every moment. I am completely loved. I see the goodness in everyone and everything. I see divine love all around. What do you think about all of this? Pay attention to any of the affirmations that made you cringe or squirm with discomfort or avoidance. Notice what the mind has to say. Perhaps something to the effect of, "This is stupid, you don't know me, this is just too much." Or perhaps it attempts to rush through and overlook the statements and not take them too seriously. Okay, I get it. Let's skip the next few lines. How long is this going to go on for? Yeah, I love myself. All an attempt to run away and avoid looking at what is really getting triggered. You will never be free until you free yourself from the prison of your own false thoughts. Philip Arnold. This is our first demonstration of what your mind is doing to you when it is exposed to anything outside of your current spectrum of consciousness. The mind has created an identity for you that is unknowingly attached to suffering and limitation. This shadow identity doesn't want to let go of control and the familiarity of playing small because it is afraid of trusting in the goodness of life and losing its happiness. It is unable to truly accept goodness because it thinks that love and happiness are things that can be acquired, lost, or stolen, depending on other people and circumstances. Yet the truth is, feeling happy, loving ourselves, and believing in the goodness of life are all internal commitments unrelated to the ever-changing outer world. We are the only ones who are in control of how we experience our lives. We are that powerful. The mind's defense against these optimistic affirmations is proof of the limitations it is putting on you and your experience of reality right now. In order to liberate yourself from the limitations of your mind, you must release and replace the root program beliefs which are preventing you from experiencing the love, peace, happiness, and freedom you are seeking. Anything and everything that is of the not self must go in order for you to break free. It is this inner shutting and letting go and the letting go process which makes practicing the inner work uncomfortable at times. How tightly you cling to your old self-image will determine the difficulty of the process. You must have the courage to look at your shadows with honesty and take accountability. You must have the willingness to let go of rationalizing wounded behaviors and thought patterns. You might find that letting go is harder than you think because You may find that letting go is harder than you think because of your conditioning to get, do, defend, prove, or blame. Yet the process of actualizing happiness has always been an acceptance, surrender, and humble allowance. We must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. Joseph Campbell. I might lose light before we can finish this chapter, but let's see. Accepting more for yourself. There are no boundaries to your happiness, divine abilities, and the expressions of gratitude. If you only surrender resistance to accepting this truth. No one has more access to happiness, divine creativity, or greatness than you do. We all share an equal access to infinite joy, fulfillment, and peace. There is nothing actually to change, fix, or do out there in the world in order to actualize your happiness. The real solutions are all within you. You only need to allow them to come to you. You are the one in control of how much you resist or how much you receive. Nothing else needs to change but yourself. You can do it. When we resist our lives, we create greater separation from the truth of who we really are. The more separate we feel from our true self of love and joy, the more powerless we feel. And the more powerless we feel, the more we suffer. We are inviting you to demonstrate your love for yourself by waking up to your own power. Accept that no one and no thing outside of yourself can ever steal your power or your joy ever again. It's not about what has happened to you. It's about how you decide to respond that determines the quality of your life. This is your life, and only you are in control of how it is experienced. Although it may be uncomfortable at first, the truth will empower you and set you free. The world we live in is the world we choose to live in, whether consciously or unconsciously. If we choose bliss, that's what we get. If we choose misery, we get that too. Tony Robbins. Exploring our resistance. Maybe your mind is thinking, but my story is worse or different, or this doesn't apply to me because... Fill in the blank with your mind's favorite rationalization as to why you can't be happy and free right now, and you will see your own resistance clearly. That person, that situation, that past event, or future worry, whatever your story is, your attachment to it is the very thing blocking you from the true freedom of lasting happiness that you are seeking. I open the curtain and let the light in. The first spiritual trap is to perceive your happiness as outside of yourself. The good news is that the rationalizations you are experiencing are just stories your mind is telling you. This means they are not instinctively or objectively true. Hang on. Where was I? This means they are not intrinsically, however you say that word, or objectively true. They are just one opinion and perspective out of infinite possibilities. We can always choose to see our past or current situations from a different perspective, and in doing so, everything about it changes. For example, we can see our setbacks as signs of our own weakness and inability, or we can see them optimistically as signs of growth, change, and evolution. It's not the setback itself that determines our experience of it, but our perspective and response. As we continue along this journey together, you will begin to see that the mind's insistence on blaming things outside of itself is something that we all innocently inherited as part of being human. Have compassion for yourself as you explore your own resistances to being truly happy, and just know your resistances do not define you. They are something that you are experiencing, but they are not who you are. Doing the inner work means your shadows and unhealed wounds will be revealed to you in order to be understood, accepted, and finally released and transcended. However, it is important to point out that all of your shadows will continue to evolve as you do. So you must always maintain humility and vigilance of any possible new blind spots as you progress. Every stage of human evolution has its own obstacles and temptations to be aware of. Therefore, the inner work is a contemplative lifestyle approach, not something to attain or a destination to arrive at. Knowing the tenacity of the mind, you must be kind to yourself in order to fully heal any wounds you uncover. The best way to find compassion is to see that your experiences are impersonal and not actually about you, just what you are experiencing. Do not confuse the limiting internal dialogue inside of your mind as the ultimate reality. One of our favorite Sanskrit mantras to repeat is Neti. Neti? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Meaning not this. I am not my past. I am not my trauma. I am not my fear. I am not this thought. I am not this guilt. I am not this doubt. I am not this story. In order to be reborn as your true self, which is free from rationalizations and excuses, and to accept the infinite peace we speak of, you must release attachment to the shadow identity and resistances your mind has constructed over your lifetime. This may be difficult to do at first because an untamed mind will fight to reinforce its past programming. This defensiveness is not personal, just how the mind works. Wounded themes of consciousness like rejection, judgment, overwhelm, loss, distrust, inadequacy, violation, and insecurity become so familiar to us that the mind strives to defend its belief system through an incessant internal dialogue. This constant inner dialogue of thought will automatically reinforce, support, and seek validation for its perspectives. Until we become aware of what is actually taking place, we will never be able to move on from it. Know that uprooting these mental narratives would mean the death of an identity the mind has worked so hard to formulate, and so we must have compassion during this revealing process. We all have accumulated rationalizations as to why we can't possibly be so loved, accepted, happy, and free as we are. The mind says things like, don't embarrass yourself. You're not good enough. You'll just fail. What will they think of you? The mind tells us we can only be happy when other people or our circumstances change. If he would just ask me to marry him, if she would just stop nagging me, if I had more money, if I paid off my debt, if I moved. The internal dialogue even tries to convince us that we need to struggle to fight for our deserved happiness. It's a tough, cold world out there. Better be the best if I want to succeed. There's not enough for everyone. Better earn it. They are my competition. These mental narratives of lack and limitation keep us from ever stepping outside of our conditioned spectrum of consciousness and experiencing something new and inspiring. something so radical and extraordinary, not because it is special in any particular way, but only radical because so few people accept it for themselves. All have equal access to happiness and greatness. If experiencing true love, lasting joy, and inner peace are rare, it is only because so few have the courage to put down their suffering and have faith in the goodness of life. Commitment is key. Notice that even when we're right on the cusp of becoming the higher version of our potential, the boundaries within the mind, interesting, keep us in check by convincing us that we can't do it, it won't work, we'll look dumb, it just wasn't meant for us. This probably won't work. I waited too long. What if I can't do it? This is just the way things are. I'm fine with it. I should just stop trying. We start to believe that we aren't one of the lucky, special people who get the opportunity of being happy and carefree. Must be nice to be them. They are just rich. If I had their life, I'd be happy too. When we then attribute blame to our conditions, circumstances, and even the world for this plight. The system is so corrupt. The world is unfair. Life is stressful and hard. My situation is different. This doesn't apply to me. I can't change. The most important realization of the inner work is that the source of our dissatisfaction is the mind's internal dialogue, not the subject of its complaints. Change is terrifying to the untamed mind. I'm just looking at how much time I have left before I need to restart that. Even when exposed to true happiness through witnessing it in others, it will reject it outright through denial or projection. Most minds are actually very suspicious of someone emulating genuine innocence, unconditional love, and inner peace. Do you guys know how many times? It's so funny. It's interesting that it's saying that, like, people will reject it outright through denial or projection, and how most minds are actually very suspicious of someone emulating genuine innocence, unconditional love, and inner peace. Because in the past, like, few years since I started awakening, if I go to someone, like some people, not all people, but I've had like a few people in my life where I've approached them with genuine innocence and unconditional love, and they're like, what do you want? They're like suspicious of it. Affirmation: I relax and let what's meant to be mine flow to me. Anyway, they're suspicious of it. They're like, what do you want? What are you really trying to say? It's like, what do you mean? What am I really trying to say? I'm saying what I'm saying. Anyway, seeing someone else shine their light unapologetically can really trigger an insecure mind. Yes, truth. It used to trigger me when I would see people being authentic and unapologetically themselves. I'd be like, ugh. And now I do that to others. They are so fake. They are so naive. I used to get told I was naive all the time. They don't know what it's like to struggle. I get that one too from like commenters on my channel. They have no idea the struggles I've been through in my life. They just haven't had enough life experience yet. They'll see. So although it is happiness and freedom you are seeking, it is crucial to recognize that even while you are yearning to elevate yourself, there is still a huge part of you, an ego, shadow identity, stuck in a wounded theme of consciousness that actually does not want you to succeed in awakening. The only enemy to ever exist is an internal one. It is hiding in the very last place you'd ever look, within yourself. Interesting. Our collective inheritance. Whether we are conscious of it or not, we all inherited limiting beliefs, thoughts, and programming that are counterproductive to our well-being and bring suffering. Over a long enough, I'm just going to stop it right here. Over a long enough period of exposure, these beliefs become so familiar to us that they then formulate a limited identity within us. Whether this wounding came directly through parents, teachers, religious figures, friends, or indirectly through the influences of society, we all got it. These inherited limiting programs of belief are not personal, just part of being born a human. However, the most empowering view we can take on our suffering is that it may actually be playing a perfect role in our hero's journey of awakening. The universe doesn't make mistakes. Chris Prentice. When seen from the higher perspective, our struggles are actually our greatest teachers, for they reveal to us personal opportunities for expansion. For example, hitting bottom may have been exactly what was needed in order to finally let go, have a change of heart, or see the bigger picture. Like sandpaper to wood, our challenges can often soften the soul if we allow them. We mustn't run from the discomfort of life's lows, but instead have the courage to lean into them with humility and curiosity. In every painful or challenging experience, we can benefit from asking ourselves, what can I learn from this? What character quality can I develop from this? What do I need to let go of? What part am I playing in this? Where am I limiting my own joy and peace? Where am I getting stuck? Where can I expand? It is only by facing our resistances with self-honesty and accountability that we can experience the empowerment and happiness that is waiting for us on the other side. See your discomfort as the doorway to freedom. Have the bravery and courage to see all obstacles as only temporary moments of realignment, always working in your favor. So, I'm going to see all of these obstacles in my house, in what I was talking about, as something that will help me be in more alignment and work out in my favor in some way. I'll get back to you on what way that is. Your trials did not come to punish you, but to awaken you. Paramahansa? I don't know how to say that name. The desire to hide, deny, or reject our insecurities, pain, anger, or sadness ultimately only hurts us further. When repressed and buried, our emotions will slowly poison us from within. For every denial and rejection of our emotions is only a rejection of ourself. If we resist the existence of our shadows, they will only continue to thrive through our denial and fear of them. To feel is to heal. The inner work process is an invitation to allow emotions, understand them with compassion, and finally release those that are not serving us. Nothing we feel could ever be wrong. We are all innocent, learning, and becoming. Everything we go through is actually playing a perfect part in our own hero's journey of enlightenment. All seeming mistakes are only an innocent discovery of who we are not, thus leading us one step closer to the truth of who we are. The mind is naive and impressionable and therefore subject to massive error. We mustn't identify with the mind's perceived mistakes, but rather seek to understand ourselves and others with compassion. By courageously acknowledging our vulnerabilities, we are on our way to healing them. Accepting ourselves as we are right now is the initial part of the inner work process. Your problem is you're too busy holding on to your unworthiness. Ram Dass. The human potential. Due to our unique ability to make conscious choices and exercise spiritual will, humans are actually capable of experiencing dramatically different levels and rates of evolution, i.e., themes of consciousness. True freedom and lasting happiness are an example of a degree of evolution in human consciousness, just as themes such as rejection, inadequacy, accountability, and understanding are as well. Each season of the human experience has differing inner obstacles, shadows, and attachments to overcome in order to allow a grander paradigm and view of life to come forth, continuously becoming more loving and free as we spiritually mature. Thus, the next stage of human evolution is not a physical adaptation, but an evolution of consciousness, an internal shift that can only be brought through the inner choice of peace, happiness, and love. Self-discipline is making the higher choice again and again. Ellen Grace O'Brien. As each individual makes the higher choice to heal the wounded themes of consciousness, humanity as a whole will gradually adapt to new levels of maturity, eventually leading to inner liberation for all. Therefore, every individual is important, needed, and a necessary part of a greater whole. Everyone must do their own inner work. No one can do it for us. We all share in the collective human karma or destiny. Every thought and action of the individual contributes to the collective consciousness, and in fact, all of the universe. There is no actual separation. You are a crucial part of a greater whole, deciding to be free from the inner shackles of limitation, deciding to choose love, happiness, and peace, and the peace of remembering who you truly are. And while the effect of your choices will have immense benefits for you personally, the world will benefit 1,000-fold. For every time we heal a personal limitation and trauma within ourselves, we are healing it within the collective as well, by holding the door open for others to join us by following our example. Every advance in consciousness is of the individual uplifts the rest of us with it like an ocean tide rising. There could be no greater contribution to humanity than doing your own inner work. I know it's really dark, but we're on the last page, yay, of the chapter, not the book. Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. Ramana Maharshi. I don't know how to say that either. Consider this a formal invitation to finally experience the full joy and awe of creation, to accept a life filled with purpose and meaning. It's all around you, waiting for you to simply recognize it. It is here right now, right here, right now. Have confidence in the love and support of your inner self. Trust your true self will come forth and is always with you. You will know the truth by its essence of innocent joy. The energies of happiness, empowerment, compassion, kindness, trust and goodness, faith, peace, humility, satisfaction, fearlessness, and most importantly, gratitude are all some of the most powerful hallmarks of your true self. Pay attention to the daily moments you embody these energies. Those will be the moments that you are living up to your full potential and living in your purpose. Those are the moments that you are being the love and happiness you've always desired, rather than trying to obtain, project, or earn it. Realize that all the joy of life is within you already, and you are destined to succeed, or else you wouldn't be here now. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. That's it. That's chapter 2. We did it. We read chapter 2. Yay! So chapter 3 is the human plight. There is no pleasure. No, not there is no pleasure. There is pleasure and there is bliss. Forego the first to possess the second. Interesting. So I will be back tomorrow to read chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a little bit longer, but I will be back tomorrow to read chapter 3 because I want to get a reading in before that person is back in my house working on the plumbing. So stay tuned. Tomorrow, chapter 3, Soul Tribe reading. And tomorrow, I'll leave enough time to read some cards too, because today I didn't pull any cards for you. I still have that beautiful horse oracle sitting here that I was going to use. I also have an empath deck that I'd like to use with my soul tribe, but for today I'm going to leave it here. So I missed you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reading this book with me. I need a reading buddy desperately. I cannot read this book by myself. I just can't read by myself. It's just not fun. It's much more fun with my best friends. So enjoy your night and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.